Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Franklin here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to use PKHEX but in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, first and foremost, I am not going to be showing you guys how to essentially install custom firmware for the Switch, which you need in order to implement PKHEX, because it's been an ongoing issue with YouTube that if you do post videos like that, it can be taken down aggressively. Like the original tutorial video that I used for installing custom firmware onto the Switch during the Let's Go days it's been long gone ever since. So I've been really hesitant on showing you guys that, and I don't have the proper camera equipment anyways for that. So if you have custom firmware on your Switch and you know how to create save files, particularly backups and restoration files, then PKHEX will be the right for you. So first and foremost, where do you get PKHEX? You get it on this website right here. It's called projectpokemon.org, and PKHEX is basically the main guy who's been doing the data mining as well for a bunch of the Pokemon games more recently. It tells you about the file, what save files it requires. Obviously, main is the one we're going to be using for this tutorial, and oftentimes you're going to be using it for the majority of your Pokemon playing career. And obviously, it tells you the difference in versions, so the more updated version you have, the more better things will be more smoothly for you. But in this new version, I've noticed a couple more things. Ban list now checks for unavailable forms, unavailable hidden abilities, because in the original PKHEX, there was a inappropriate ban list for Gigantamax forms and Dynamax Pokemon that are found in dens. It gave me a legality issue check, but it should be fixed by now. And also it does support from generation 6 through 7, and now support for the 8. And also, I'm not really sure. I know someone asked me previously about generation 5 games. I'm not too sure. I know those are long time ago games, but don't know exactly if they actually work. I think it should, because I do see a Gen 5 Seagear stuff, so I think it does work. So anyways, now you download the PKHEX and it's on your laptop right now, and so now you're wondering, well, how do I get Pokemon to show up on here? So first thing foremost, if you do the custom firmware and you're able to get a save file backup, all you gotta do is go to File, you go to Open, you go into your main from your save date file. You go to main because that's the first thing we're going to use, and voila. I'm not using my most current file because there's been an update on the Switch. It's now currently at 9.1.0 rather than 9.0.1, and obviously it's really important for you to distinguish what the what version your Nintendo Switch has, because if it gets updated, oftentimes it takes a while for the custom firmware to get updated, particularly the one I'm using as well, and you gotta wait for either patches or a complete overhaul of a new version of custom firmware. So you gotta be very mindful of that. So now you got all the Pokemon to show up, and now you're wondering, well, how do you fix up a Pokemon? So let's go through the Pokemon. Here's all the Pokemon I currently have as well. And so let's say there should be a Pokemon here that maybe we can just edit real quick. Derpy is a pretty good mon. I'm gonna go, let's go with Derpy. So, Derpy. Everyone's cool little dragon this generation. It's a level 1. Now, the reason why I prefer Pokemon hatched in order to be, genned up faster and easier is because the coding of the Pokemon will be intact as if it was hatched. So that way you don't have to make the Pokemon hatched and learn all these moves and egg moves and all that through genning. It makes it easier if they are hatched, is what I'm saying. So you can change the natures here. So let's go all the way from the beginning. So the main is where you're gonna basically change the information of the Pokemon, on the superficial information of the Pokemon. The star here means it can be shiny. It has its own personal ID. You can change the nature, and you can re-roll if you want to make it more legally acceptable. But this star button here is for it to be shiny, and this is the icon that will determine what Pokemon is shiny, because obviously the sprites of the Pokemon won't change shiny color just like in Pokemon Let's Go. So you can change the ID here. I personally don't touch this unless I need a reroll. And you can change from male to female and female to male. Species, you can actually change any Pokemon species here as long as they're Gen 8 legal. For example, if I change this into a, let's say, a Diancie, it's going to be illegal because you can't get a Diancie in game and obviously cannot come from an egg. I usually don't touch this because I just want to fix up the Pokemon's nature, stats, and moves, not its species. You can change the nickname of the Derpy here. If you want, you click on there and you can say, change his name. Simple as that. EXP, if you know the species of this Pokemon, if you know the max EXP, I believe it changes within the level itself. So you can see as I put more EXP, it becomes more higher in levels. But honestly, if you just want to change the level of the Pokemon, you can just put in here level 100 and that should be it. Natures, you can change to anything you want. Stat nature, which essentially is the actual real nature for mints and all that kind of stuff, you can change it to Jolly. Held item, you can give it a held item. I'm going to give mine Choice Scarf just for fun. Friendship caps off, I believe, at, I don't remember the exact, I think it's 200 or 225. Not really sure. You can change the friendship, but unfortunately, Return and Frustration aren't in this generation, so it kind of is whatever, you know. But there are Pokemon such as Frostmoth that will level up, that have to level up, be in a specific time period, so night and day, and have maximum or an acceptable friendliness level to evolve. So you can use that. And abilities, this is why I prefer the Pokemon Hatch to be genned, is that way I can just put on a simple hidden ability that can be passed through the parents, and it's easy. You don't have to worry about coding with the Pokemon itself just to have a hidden ability. Just breed a Pokemon. It'll make things a lot easier. And you can give it the hidden abilities or just, abilities 1 or 2. Language, you can change its language to whatever. If you want it to be an egg, it can come from an egg. I usually don't do that because, what's the point? Now, obviously, it can't. If you do that, you're going to have errors. So in order for you to fix these errors, you're going to have to, go back into specifically where it's at. And this is what I like about PKHEX as well, is that it can tell you exactly what's wrong. And pretty much just by reading the description, this looks like it's an OT and miscellaneous issue and a Met issue in the tabs that are shown right here. But infected is Pokerus. Cured means it was infected with Pokerus, but it's cured and cannot be passed. So, Met is where the issue is at. It is not an egg, so we can get rid of that. And that gets rid of a bunch of stuff here. And now it causes more problems. And this is exactly what I mean by, if you're trying to create a Pokemon or an egg itself, it's going to cause more problems and more headaches. So if you think you messed up, you can just simply grab the Pokemon sprite here, drag it over here, and voila. Nothing happened. So now we're going to go on to the Met side, since I already showed you guys how to do main. Origin game, it can come from Sword and Shield, and that's it. Obviously, a Pokemon like this means that it can only come from Sword and Shield. We don't have Pokemon Home yet. Met location, most likely Bridgefield in the wild area. That's cool. So you can change that as well. If it's an egg, if it hatched from an egg, it can basically be anywhere legal in the game. Luxury ball, if you are one of those people that are really picky about, balls, which is, that came out completely wrong. You can change the superficial Pokeball came in. I decided to change mine to Moonball because why not? Met level 1, if it came from an egg, level 1. Met date, you can change as well, but it's whatever. Faithful Encounter is only for mystery gift Pokemon, as far as I'm concerned. As egg, because you met it as an egg, and therefore the location is a nursery worker because you need to have the description of where it came from correct, and the date when it hatched. Obviously, the met date and the date, they should match. So onto stats. And I showed you guys this in the previous video that I made. But essentially, you can change the IVs and the EVs of the Pokemon. And there's a new feature or two you're about to see right now. So You want your Pokemon 6 IV? 31. That's the key rule. If you are that kind of dude that just wants to have all 36 IV Pokemon, you can just have them all 31. If you care about foul play and other moves that rely on stats, particularly foul play is the only one I can think off the top of my head, you can have 0. You can randomize IVs and randomize EVs in order to be specific about what you want. Say you want a Dragapult, eventually a Dragapult that has max special attack and speed, 252 and 252. As long as this box is not red, that means it's legally capable of having those EVs. 6 means 510 are the EVs total that has been matched. They actually, if you highlight your little box here or just hover over it, it tells you how many EVs are missing. Obviously it says 0 because I already maxed them out. So now this is pretty much about already derpy. And so another feature that has been introduced in Sword and Shield is Dynamax. This here tells you that you can increase the Dynamax level to 10 rather than giving it candy if you don't have enough candy, which is kind of impossible because at this point in time you would be raiding constantly every day and you'll be having Dynamax candy every day. So if you don't have that, you can just change this between 1 and 10. Obviously 10, oops, sorry about that. 10 is the max that will allow you to cap off the level. Gigantamax is only for Pokemon caught in the wild area that have potential Gigantamax forms, but has to come from a specific den. So we're not touching that, of course. Contest stats, I don't know why they keep putting the contest stuff here, because it hasn't existed for 2 generations. So now we go on to the attacks, and you can see the relearn moves of the Pokemon here that is Derpy. These are the original moves that it comes in. But let's say you want to teach it Sucker Punch. And Sucker Punch is an egg move, so we're going to go to Sucker Punch. And it should be legal, of course. Now, sometimes there are some Pokemon that only learn 2 moves when they hatch as an egg. And you need to let's say you want to teach it a move like Sucker Punch, but it will come out as illegal because in the relearn moves, it has to have the same moves here as well. So if I put Sucker Punch here, it still will be legal. But for Pokemon that don't learn 4 moves right off the bat when they hatch, you need to put the egg move here in the current moves and in the relearn moves. Now the technical records. So technical records are new moves, not quote-unquote moves that were introduced in a different section of TM. So we have TMs that never go away, but TRs are tutor moves that essentially can be taught to a Pokemon one time. If you have multiple copies, then you can teach it to multiple Pokemon, and the TR breaks when you obviously run out. So it's kind of like the old school TMs. There are different moves here as well, and you can teach a Pokemon TRs. But so for the thing for TRs is that, let's say I want to teach this boy Shadow Ball. So the issue with Shadow Ball here is that you go over here and it tells you it's an invalid move. So what pretty cool thing about Derpy is that it can't learn Shadow Ball. Not yet, of course. So let's say now I want to go to a specific Pokemon that can learn a move via TR. So I'm gonna go choose another Pokemon that isn't gonna be Derpy, just for now. Actually, Gyarados is a Pokemon here because Gyarados cannot learn Power Whip. It got Power Whip this generation, but it can't learn it via level up. It can only learn it via TR. So you go to Power Up here, and then it's gonna tell you, hey, it's an invalid move, of course. So you go to the relearn moves, or not even go to relearn moves, you go to the TR and you look for Power Whip. Now you scroll down here and I'm trying to see if I can find Power Whip itself. Now I know it's a TR game, so there's right there, number 72. You save here and voila, now your Gyarados is legal because it learned a TR through the technical records portion, and it's now acceptable, and I can put it back into the game here if I wanted to. And you're basically done. And that's how you deal with TRs. So I taught you how to do TRs, egg moves, and general level up moves. OT and miscellaneous, the secret ID is basically the number that it takes for you to have shiny Pokemon. The TSV is the actual value that you need, which is 80887 for a shiny Pokemon. Some people like to learn about this kind of stuff because it gives them the odds of, you know, how close they are into getting a shiny. You can change the original trainer name to whatever, and actually I will change it to whatever, and you can change the original gender of the character that it came from. The latest, not OT handler. So the latest can essentially be the trainer who traded it to you that didn't come from them themselves. You can just change the name to whatever, and you can change what game it came from. So Japanese. Markings, pretty cool because this is for, you know, EV or not EV. You can change different colors for like IVs and EVs. So let's say a Pokemon has 6 IVs, you can put them all blue. But then they have max special attack and max speed, so you can make it red. And the red can also signify if they're missing IVs in any of those categories. Ribbons, you can add ribbons to any Pokemon you want here. Of course, not all these are accessible to Pokemon Sword and Shield, except for the Battle Tower and for the Gym League when you become champion. Obviously, we're going to ignore that because we don't really care about ribbons. Memories is actually now a feasible and accessible mechanic in Sword and Shield, because if you go to the Pokemon Center to where the Move Tutor guy is, or Move Relearner guy is at, you can tell the memory, you can tell what the memory of the Pokemon is going through just by clicking on the NPC. So it gives you the description here of the Pokemon, and you can change its memory. So let's say instead of meeting at a tall building, it was on Victory Road. Obviously Victory Road does not exist, but you're changing the memory of the Pokemon itself. So just make some fun around there. Obviously, some of this will be illegal because obviously the Battle Miason does not exist in Sword and Shield. So you have to be very careful, very, very, very careful of where the memory comes from. The affection and friendship can be changed here, which is fine. Look, the current handler is from whatever that I made. So that's pretty much it for the creating the Pokemon itself. Now, Party Battle Box, you can obviously change that. It's the same thing. You just drag the Pokemon here, and you can edit it, do all your editing here, change whatever you need to do, and yeah, that should be it. The save file. Now, the save is the final portion of this video in which I get to show you, you know, what you can change that is in Pokemon. So Pokedex, you can change the Pokedex here. Now, obviously, it looks a lot more complicated than it was, but if you want all Pokemon, all you gotta do is just click all the languages if you want. It's up to you. You can display Dynamax and all shiny Pokemon for every single form possible. Fine by me. You can modify here, and you can do a couple things. You've seen none of the Pokemon, means your Pokemon Pokedex will be reset to 0. You've seen all, which means you've seen them all, but you haven't caught them. Caught none. Obviously, you've seen them all, but you have not caught any of them. You caught them all, which, you know, that's cool. But complete Pokedex is really what you need for the shiny charm. If you don't want to install the shiny charm in your game because you haven't gotten it yet officially in Sword or Shield, you just put complete Pokedex and then you just go to Sir Chester City where the Game Freak employee gives you the shiny charm. Change all battle count is the number of times you encounter this Pokemon in the wild, battled, and caught. You could change that too. I really don't like touching this because I'd rather have my Pokedex, you know, naturally completed, you know, just to avoid legality issues. Trainer info. You can change your trainer, who you are. You can change the name, your IDs, the amount of money you got. So if you want to be a billionaire, you can just go 99999. You can change what game you're actually your trainer comes from, which is weird. I don't understand why that would be allowed since you're playing Sword. Like if I'm playing Sword, it should be Sword. This should be locked. League card name is for the card that we have, and you can change the number if you messed up. I don't want number 10. Maybe I want number 9 for the, you know, striker role. Trainer League ID, you can change that as well for the Rotom Lotto or for other cool stuff as well. And you can change your name as like I mentioned. Language, obviously I can change to whatever I want. You have the save file. The number of hours that I put in, this is not correct because this is an old file, save file that I'm using. I actually have double the amount. And battle points. You don't want to grind the battle tower, but you want to get battle points to buy cool items such as the vitamins for stats, or maybe the battle items you need, or maybe you want to buy some items that can be used for breeding, such as the destiny knot. You can basically give yourself 999 battle points if you want. Pretty simple and straightforward. And I don't really touch these. I don't know what these do, so I'm just gonna ignore them. But you can change any Pokemon you want. Now, the new feature that came in Sword and Shield are Gigantamax. If you see this icon above the Pokemon, even in the game, this means you caught it in a Gigantamax raid. Now, if we go over to the stats of the Pokemon, you can see it has a max Dynamax level 10, usually, and the Gigantamax form box is checked off. If it wasn't checked off, it loses this icon very quickly. So obviously, and it tells you, hey, you caught this in Gigantamax form, but it doesn't have a flag. So in order for you to fix that, you just click on here, check the box with Gigantamax, and now it's legal. You can't just add a Pokemon bred. Like for example, if I bred this Lapras and I want to give it Gigantamax form, it's impossible because it didn't come from a Gigantamax raid. So don't do that. That'll be a very big legality issue you're going to be facing. Let me show you here. Score Bunny level 1. Now I know it can only learn Tackle and Growl, but I know it can learn High Jump Kick and Sucker Punch as egg moves, right? So we click here, it's legal. Now if you want to be on the safe side, you can reteach it High Jump Kick as well and Sucker Punch, so when you go to the move relearner and through its memories, it can relearn these moves if they get deleted. So this is for assurance. And like I said, you want to make it shiny? Go for it. Boom, the star's right there. You want to change its nature. Now, obviously, nature doesn't really matter too much, but if you're doing mints, it will matter the most. Like when you catch a Pokemon, its nature and stat nature will be the same, but the moment you put a mint on it, the nature and stat nature are completely different. Hidden abilities. Libero is not released. So released hidden abilities, I believe they do work, but you're going to get a legality issue as well. So obviously this says it's not available. It won't let you do that, so just stick with its regular abilities for now. And you can change, I said the Met was where it came from, the stats. And like I said, you want to have its good IVs. 31, 31, 31, 31. And maybe you want to give it 0 special attack because why not? It doesn't really matter. And then 252 in attack and 252 in speed. Gives 60 HP. And there you go. And I'm going to show you guys randomizing IVs. You can change them. Pretty simple. And EVs can be changed as well as long as they meet the criteria of 510 EVs with 0 remaining. So yeah, that's pretty much how Pokemon Sword and Shield PKHEX version works. Have I used it personally? Yes, I have for certain Pokemon, but majority of the Pokemon that you see here battle ready, I actually had bred them and leveled them up and used mints that I got in the game and used the vitamins and the items I actually bought them myself from the Battle Tower grind from my previous series video. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave some comments down below. Hoping that, I'm waiting for my Switch's custom firmware to get updated so I can get back to genning very soon, because I do want to do my giveaway on a timely manner. So anyways, guys, it's your boy Franklin signing out. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Hope you guys found this video useful. Peace.